Welcome to the Sex Positive Community Europe project presentation. Now we are going through the circles. So I will, as Lea already explained, we organized ourselves in department circles. And the first circle is Linda that will present communication and marketing.
Hello everybody. I hope everybody can hear me. I'm Linda. And at the moment, I'm a representative for the Marketing Communications Circle. What you can see on your screen is our current project, what we've been working in 2020, where we are trying to create a platform, a new website for representation of sex positive community Europe, where we would like to create our own brand identity, where we connect facilitators with community, where we have resources presented for different communities and people and for educational purposes too, where mainly it's kind of focused on three main things. We want to promote the events across Europe. So people who are creating events, they can also publish through our platform so people can see them. Obviously, they would be divided in different categories and different times. And since we are connecting people across the Europe, so that would be, regardless of the country you are, this would be maybe a reliable resource where you can go and see the trusted people, trusted facilitators, what is happening there. Then we also want to create a profile of each facilitator. So if you're more interested in to know who is behind the event or workshop or festival or whatever it is, so you as a facilitator are welcome to send us your picture, your little review. We would publish on the website so people can also read a little bit more of what you do, what you can offer, and what is your profile of work. Then from our side, we also would like to promote sex positive books and games. We have, as already Janina told you, we have content retreats where we constantly create new guides for community or new sexual education materials, which would be freely accessible, downloaded for the sharing and production wherever people want to use it, and basically have a platform for like a library of sex positive things. Then we also have created a section for safer sex, so people know where they can go tested, where our community members suggest the best ways to keep safe, regular testing, what is behind us. We also would offer the option to download different flyers for example, if you create your party or event and you want to remind people to be safe, things like that. And obviously, we would like to promote also our community values and stuff. And there would be also a section about latest news and updates. So that would be shareable on our also Facebook platform. As also was mentioned before, that in Marketing Circle, we would also try to be responsible for managing Facebook group, which is growing, and it's also are already very active in connecting people and facilitators and promoting events. So it would be two platforms which kind of supports each other. At the moment, this is a very small circle at the moment. So we would like to have more people with different skills and different different skills and knowledge that we can grow this part of in sex positive community. Thanks. You can see that we would like to grow. Obviously, this year was not easy for marketing and events for everybody. So we would need to see which directions we take. As this per sociocracy model, there's not like one person will be in charge for something what we do. We would have create a team of people where we would think about projects what we co-create together. Maybe within our circle we would see, okay, these are people who are responsible for design. Obviously it would be all interactive, but maybe we would have a little roles within our group, so we could see that we would be responsible to create a brand for us. If there is an event, we would be responsible for event media communications, If we need to create some official communication, there will be people who, create the text. Obviously, it's Facebook group moderation. At the moment, what we are focused is the website. We have graphic designer, but we would love to have another one. The more, for the sharing of all the responsibilities, because as you know, creating website is not an easy task. Different graphic elements, graphic design, and obviously that's always very good for starting website. Basically, all the posters we would like to also in cooperation that we would support other circles if they need something for their marketing or design purposes, so we could help them with that. Yeah, also from the marketing and social aspect, it's nice to have maybe somebody with UX design, so you know what is the best way to promote the content, the best way how to make people engage, or finding creative ways to educate people about things we do. Yeah, obviously, would be lovely to start more active social media profiles. Seeing also on Instagram, so we can also create, our Instagram following a little bit more, with different ideas, what kind of ways we can promote content with other circles. For example, sex ed is generating, so we say, okay, maybe there's something we can make a strategy of how we can use what we have to promote and reach more people. At the moment, also, we would like to have people just with ideas. You would have also your platform to run your own project. So these, what I just said, it's just more directions. There can be in each of direction kind of, creating little circles or little projects within the marketing circle. So yeah, this is probably it. There's, I guess, maybe one more slide where we were showing our current website. But yeah, you can go into sexpositive.com where you can see what it currently is. It's not in a great state. That it has all the information, but I think with the growing community, we can present our better, and that's what we are. Yeah, this is what we are trying to do. I must say that we also have some IT people who is helping us with background information and like creating all the templates. Yeah, that part is kind of covered, but obviously the more people, the more sharing of the responsibilities, maybe can make these all projects run quicker and smoother. And yeah, we are always open for that too.
Thank you, Linda. Next, we have Valerie presenting the Sex Ed Circle.
Okay, yes. The Sex Ed Circle is, I think, one of the bigger ones at the moment. Apparently, there is a big interest in educating people on sex positivity, which is great. Our driver is sex education is often undervalued and incomplete, and a sex positive approach frequently faces obstacles. The sex education department aims to educate people of all ages in different settings towards a more sex positive and inclusive mindset. So that's it. That's our what drives us and how we try to aim our projects. We have, for now, there is a project-based structure. We have, for the moment, one project that we are working on. It's possible for people to join the sex education department and work with us on that project. We will talk more about this in the breakout room. I will just say a few words to the project itself in a minute when I find my notes for that. So basically, it's we're trying to make pop-up exhibitions that offer an accessible way to give adults new tools and explore and express their sexuality. We will create some materials. We're aiming for posters and leaflets for the moment that can be displayed in different spaces. Could be a bar, could be some yoga studio, could be any other place that makes sense. For now, we will, the topic of the project is consent. Like that's what we chose to do something first. If there is other ideas, we welcome you to present them, or maybe we can collaborate. We do have the idea that people can also carry out projects just individually if it's just one person who's really interested in doing something. For us as a group, we focus on this first project. Our roles, like there is Leah, you have met her already. Then we have Alina, who is our contact person. Me, I'm the delegate, so I'm the one who's bringing information to the general circle. Leah is the coordinator, so she coordinates us within the group. And then there is Alistair and Moritz, who are facilitators. They decide that they want to do it together. And Dani, and there's a few more people more or less active, so I don't know who of them is more engaged. We do, like, our working principles are obviously the association values, sex positivity. For us, it's important that we try to communicate non-violently, that people are held accountable. We already had that, but still. Also, if you do have a project that you want to bring, we have, like, there's a proposal to be made that will be reviewed by us, and then we check if the goals are actually aligned with the sex positive Community Europe structure and the values. Also, it's a non-profit, like all of us are doing this ehrenamtlich, voluntarily, yes. And as I said, we have a feedback system. So we know what other people are doing and trying to have a look at it in our department circle. Yeah, I think I would leave it like this. And if there is more interest in the project, we would talk about this more in the breakout rooms.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm allergic to video. So no, I'm actually not allergic to video. I'm allergic to recording video. So I'll stay in the dark, but I'm very happy to be here. My name is Andrea, and I am calling from Vienna. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Excellent. So the finance circle is one of those circles that needs to exist, and it does as little work as possible to make every other thing happen that requires money. At the moment, actually, I'm talking about it, but I'm not yet officially confirmed as part of the finance circle, as we're gonna have the role confirmation at the next general circle meeting, whenever that is, I think in a few months. But yes, I am one of the few people that actually like Excel sheets and dealing with money, so that's why I guess I'm taking care of it. The finance circle does not decide how money is spent, but it just basically has kind of an oversight role on how it is spent, and it has kind of an executive role in the sense that it clicks the buttons to make it happen. And so it's basically a fundamental functioning of any type of non-profit association or whatever, that you need somebody that makes sure that everything is in order, because according to the law, you have to produce a financial report at the end of the year, and you have to have transparent accounting and blah, blah, blah. So that's, yeah, not as sexy as the other circles, but hey, it's important, so we do it. Yeah, what you see in the slide is, we had some money from the fundraiser. We get some money from the incubator sometimes. We spend money, mostly there's some core costs. The web stuff takes a lot, but we are looking forward to minimize that and put more money in actually financing either projects or supporting our gatherings. As far as people, we don't need a big circle, but if out there's another number nerd that would be keen to join us, it would be awesome. And obviously it's a role that requires quite a bit of trust, so maybe it's better if somebody's already known to the community. A few words of how we work from a finance point of view. It's a volunteer-based organization. This is important, as nobody gets paid in general. In specific, we can pay specific costs as associated with well, we actually haven't gone in the details, but for example, if we could afford it, we would love for people to at least get reimbursed for their train ticket when we have a meeting somewhere. But that will be dependent, obviously, on how much money we have when we do the next meeting. And obviously, we need to also pay professional services that we need to outsource. And don't go that fast, thank you. For example, yeah, if we ever need a lawyer, hopefully not. If we need mediation, if we need, well, we will need to pay an accountant probably at some point. But yeah, the main idea is that we want to funnel get most of our money from fundraisers. Obviously, we get some money from membership fees. So I invite everybody in the audience to become a member. It's not much, but hey, if we all do it together, it becomes something. And get the rest of the money from fundraisers. Corona is not really helping in that sense, but hopefully soon we will be able to have events again and funnel the money in the project. My goal in the circle is to keep it all transparent and avoid silly spending or things that cannot be justified.
So yeah, we have a very small membership a year. It's €20, and for low income people, it's €10. For some actions, when you're working in, for example, if you become part of the general circle at a certain point, it is required to be a member. We really recommend, if you're working into a department circle, to become a member. For some, it is a necessity, for some not. But this we will explain then also further when we are working together. We also, still finding out these things because, we are also new to this whole system. Okay, Andrea, is it all?
For the final circle, yes, I guess I'm back from the content circle later on.
Yeah, but later. We have, I think, 2 circles before. Yeah, exactly. So I will pass on to Moritz.
That's me. Okay, great. If you can hear me, give me a gentle head bang. Okay, that works. Great. So I would like to meet all of you who are interested later on in the second part to create a new circle, maybe, hopefully. Awareness circle. I think that in terms of sex-positive communities, it's always of big value that we create safer spaces, and that there are different ways to try to, and that we, as Sex-Positive Europe, we try to combine those sorts and gather us together. And I thought it's really important that we have such a circle. So let's meet and let's see if we can bring up a new group. I think there are if you have already knowledge about awareness, please bring it in. It would be great for us. Otherwise, you don't have to. You don't have to have like experience yet in any way, but if you're interested, and let's see how it goes from there. We've got different ways we could look at awareness or goals we could go for first. So we could see how shall we handle, for example, situations where people appear at different events, but and maybe show difficult behavior, but go to the next event and they don't know what experience you made somewhere else, for example. How do you handle with that? Or how could we create material and offer it so that different communities can use that for their own awareness concepts and stuff? So there are different views and perspectives and possibilities to go on. And as Leah already said, that you've got a lot of freedom as well with sociocracy to work on your own projects. I don't want to go too hard into that's the way we are going to go. And normally I'm mostly in sex education so far, but I would love to create this circle because I think it's really important to have one and have one with you. I would like to say that it's different from well-being. There was earlier a page with the Wellbeing Circle. So well-being is like taking care of us as a community, that everything flows. And I think awareness is more like the view to events and the big outside world. So I think that's important to see there the difference. I hope that answered kind of all questions so far, and that we can meet afterwards.
I would love to drop two important words that for me
Please.
is like awareness, but also conflict resolution, and also how to deal, with consent reports. So on certain events, there is already the possibility to report people or facilitator after an event. And we really also want to make that possible into the sex positive community Europe. So that, we set also an example in a reporting system that also other people can then use, and also to show a way that keeps people accountable, but also to have a transformative justice tool. So these are things that we will then, when we create the circle, also decide what do we do and what we not do. But like, awareness is a very broad term, but these are also things that we kind of see in there. Cool. Then Valerie will talk a bit about the Wellbeing Circle of the sex positive community.
No.
Oh, Leah told me that you do it. Okay, sorry, I misunderstood then. Okay, then, I mean, Moritz already kind of explained a bit that it's really about the well-being of our association. It's not a circle that is founded yet. So if you are, it's a bit the idea that if we have some conflict or some consent issues inside of the community, that we have one or two, or actually best two person that we can address to. It would awesome if these person are kind of professionals, either in psychology or mediation. So these are people that we are searching, but we will not have a breakout room for that. Yeah, if anybody from the team have something to add, please. But I think that's also something is for the future that we really find important, but it's not yet created. Yeah, so Nicoletta will tell us a bit about advocacy.
Yes, can you hear me? We had internet problems, so we've been just back just in time.
We hear you.
Okay, wonderful. So I'll tell you just a little bit of about our plans, because the Advocacy and Activism Circle is quite small, and as we're a lot of us are also in other department circles, and there was just a lot going on. So we are definitely in need of new members that are interested, joining us and bringing this mission forward. What is the idea behind it? We've heard a lot about reaching out to people, to market our skills to the wider community, to educate people. And this is all going towards, let's say, the wider masses, to create attention, to have our community grow and our values spread and change the world. And in order to do that, we also eventually want to reach out to decision makers. So that part of the bad lobbying that a lot of bad companies do, we also want to do, but for a good cause. We also want to reach out to decision makers, to politicians, may that be local politicians, the national parliament, or the European Parliament, to look into our interests, to look into the topics that on one hand possibly restrict us from doing what we want to do. Let's say, for example, if you look at Poland, sex positivity there is kind of restricted in the way that there is LGBTI rights being taken away, question of gender identity. There's different topics that we as a sex positive community really want to engage with decision makers. Sitting here in Berlin, for instance, for me, I do have some contacts to local as well as national parliamentarians who are, let's say, across single parties, a bit liberal. And when I mean liberal, I don't mean the connection with any particular party, but I mean in the sense that they are understanding, for instance, gender identities. They do support different ideas about like free sex. We also have support, say, sex workers. At least I have them in my wider community. And there's a lot of legal restraints that we may little by little also get into a change. And for this, of course, what we also need is, I mean, politics is also quite national. So we are a European association. So of course it would be super to have, like, at some point, people who are working in their own country and then joining for, let's say, the wider European approaches. But yeah, from the very start where we now, then of course it would be, it would also be interesting to catch up with people here in Berlin and see how we can start here. Maybe one slash to the activism part. So the difference between activism and the lobbyism is that activism is a bit more into reaching, again, a wider audience. There could be events publicly, there could be also, let's say, particular actions that give us an attention across our bubble. May that be, you know, in the middle of the city, the Brandenburg Gate, somewhere where, you know, attention is caught and our message is brought out. But the lobbying is really a little bit more focusing on discussing with decision makers and explain them our ideas, our values, and how we want changes to let's say have, for instance, our sex education reach more people, because there could be also restrictions, legal restrictions or local restrictions by, you know, school regulations that we cannot reach. So this is me, and this there is other people that are involved in it, and like I said, we will certainly grow. We're our first year with a particular context. We're going baby steps, but we're going.
Perfect. Next, Andrea will talk about the content circle. We will not see him, but we keep on looking at your pretty face.
I think I'll make an exception because I really want people to join the content circle.
I can post the recording if you want.
You can what?
I can make a pause in the recording so it will be not recorded.
That'd be awesome.
Okay. I'm pausing the recording. Stuff going on in the chat. I would say we have in about 10 minutes Q&A. So also if you have questions, you can ask them then. So yeah, I give you a quick sneak peek in our event circle. I already talked what have been realized, but now I have a bit of a pictures for you. The next slide, please. Thank you. So yeah, we have realized different events till now. And Andrea, if you could remove the spotlight of your face, I don't find you now right now. But do you know
how do I do that?
Ah, okay, maybe
remove spotlight, yes.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. So yeah, we created these incubators that are already introduced before, where we really try to meet 1 or 2 days. The content retreat that Andrea also talked about. Now the general circle where we really try to focus on these main decisions on working together. Maybe we can go to the images. I think they're more interesting than. So yeah, this was our first incubator in Vienna, where we met the first time in December 2018. We really were quite international, actually, really having people from France, Italy, London, Hungary, Germany. So it was really nice to come together. often we try to have 2 days of incubator or 1 day and then 1 day of party, if that's possible, because we really like to nurture. We think networking can work with talking, but also with spending some quality time afterwards. So we try to nurture our body and mind, but there is no pressure. You can always leave before it gets juicy. So this was in Berlin, and the other one where we didn't do pictures. That's one thing that we do miss often, is doing nice pictures. So also from our content retreat now, we didn't do a group picture. But you see there is always a lot of facilitators that are smiling, coming together and exchanging knowledge. We kind of have a structure, but it's always changing from bit to bit, and also depending on who is there and who is interested in on the topics. So often sex education is coming up, diversity and inclusion, how to outreach, so also PR. Then what we often also have is safer sex. These are kind of groups that are, every time we have someone really interested in that. And so we make some hours of working groups, and then all the working groups are presenting their outcomes so that nobody missed something. And then we really also try to take minutes from everything, so that the people that are not that privileged to travel around Europe to come to see us can also access these things. And the next image. So then we realized that it actually would be quite helpful to have some money. So we made this a huge sex positive weekend where we reached out to a lot of facilitators that we know, and they all volunteered their time and knowledge. So we had some talks and discussions, and also a kinky auction, what you see right up, where we also collected almost 2,000 euros. For our association. And so everything all the income was spent, was going into the association. So in one night, actually Saturday night, where we then did this ball, we made 7,000 euro that then have been are now on the accounts of the association. So this was the content creation retreat in May 2019, what Andrea was talking about. But this was the beautiful images from Nora Marleen that we are always using, what is also kind of become a bit our identity online. And here you see a lot of names. This was the Sex Positivity and Sustainability Incubator, where we really crossover networked. What we did now in September, and finally the event, the general circle meeting that we had now, where we came together, ate together, worked together, 11 people, and really made a lot happen. But the event circle is a bit the goal to there can be more events created from our community. So okay, that is the next slide, whatever. But the idea is a bit that everybody who wants to organize events, so online events at the moment, but also maybe already collect some information about how to make events safer. So I'm working as an event organizer, so I kind of have a lot of knowledge around that. I'm very happy to support. I was now with Andrea the last years organizing these events, and also with a lot of others, this huge fundraiser. I personally want to stop, but we're very happy to support everybody who wants to do events. So you can later find me in a breakout room where I'm very happy to talk with you about events of the sex positive community. So what we try to do is like to have sociocratic governance meetings every 3 months, and in between, so 3 or 4 a year, where we really try to take the big decisions. And operational meetings, that's like terms from sociocracy, is where we kind of discuss the to-dos and also look what have been done and update us in the status. So these are the upcoming dates. They are mostly relevant for now for the general circle, but there is in between always of the department circles some own governance meetings and operational meetings, but as the most of the circles aren't yet that they have their own like already pre-scheduled meetings, they will be then done in the working circles. But yeah, our hope is that next year in summer it will already be better, and we can maybe make another content retreat, or in September do a fundraiser. So yeah, and also to keep it juicy even in Christmas time, this year we will do an internal self-love Christmas edition where we masturbate together, but next year we hope to have more members to also yeah, make a bigger association group masturbation. So yeah, now we have around.
Okay, so yes, as Valerie has already said, yeah, it's also part of like the sociocratic sort of model, that the way that you make decisions is that you always kind of define a driver for any particular decision, for any particular problem or project. You define a driver, like what is the problem that we're trying to address, right? What is the motivation behind it? And so for our sex education work group, we have defined our driver as you know, the problem statement being that sex education is very often undervalued and at the very least incomplete. Yeah, so for example, in schools, it's mostly based on anatomy and contraception in most countries. When we do try and kind of share a more sex positive approach to things, then we are faced with many different obstacles. And so as a department circle of the association, we sex ed group try to educate people of all ages and different settings towards a more sex positive and inclusive mindset. Yes, so the roles that we have kind of voted in so far are these. I'm not going to go into much detail about them because I think we have already seen like a sociocratic sort of model presented by Leah. Just to say that these roles are, you know, consensually kind of voted in and also are flexible, yeah. So they can, of course, change. And yes, so to talk a little bit more about the problem that I think we all in different ways have experienced, is that conventional sex education is simply outdated. It's outdated and it is sex negative, which, you know, usually I think what is the default, what is taken for granted and for normal is actually comes with a lot of kind of shame ridden connotations that aren't really kind of brought to the surface very often. And it is also very highly gendered, very, very binary, and in this way exclusionary. And plus, and that is, I think, not to be underestimated, that it makes this topic of sex, which is really an incredible, powerful, important, far-reaching, basic, fundamental human topic, very, very boring. And so lots of people, including in sex positive groups, so adults who are, you know, sexually active, very often do not know actually how to keep themselves healthy and safe in their sexual encounters. They don't know how to feel confident in themselves, and how to really know and be in touch what it is that they really want or not want, and how to express that, how to express those boundaries. That is, they very often, or we often don't really know or don't manage to take care of ourselves properly, take care of ourselves, and that is what is necessary in order to be able to take care of others. And in the way that we work, in the projects that we build, who is it that we want to reach? So here, maybe the slide missing, yeah. So just quickly to explain that there's a department circle, which is sex education, the department circle, and then the department circle works on the basis of projects. Yeah, and so we can, theoretically, the department circle can be active, working on many different projects. For example, I heard a survey being mentioned, right? That's something that we have discussed ourselves as something that we'd be interested in doing, for example. However, and I'll talk about that in more in a moment, but you know, we have limited capacity, and we have found that it's probably the best move in the beginning, as we're kind of organizing ourselves, to really kind of focus our energy of the people who are actually active in the circle right now onto one project, and that this project is sorry, the slides are in a slightly weird order, yeah, but it's a project of kind of creating pop-up exhibitions. And the people that we want to reach with this project are primarily adults. Yeah, so for example, people at sex positive festivals and workshops, where because as I think we all know, that being sort of active in the sex positive scene or being interested in that doesn't necessarily mean that we have all of these things figured out already. So there's always more kind of outreach that is wanted and needed, and also because that is a way of reaching out to people who themselves have networks where they can sort of spread the information to kind of create this ripple effect. Also people at music and other types of festivals, right? So festivals that do not have any kind of particular focus on sex positivity or tantra or any such thing, but where of course sexuality is a very, very big component. As well as people at bars and clubs, right? And these are just some examples. You know, we're also including things like yoga studios, different kinds of institutions, maybe the conscious stores, event venues, such things. At a later stage, we would also like to reach other groups of people, especially not adults, like teenagers, right? So at schools, possibly other events, locations, such as libraries. And also parents, right? Because we cannot sort of see children or teenagers in isolation from their environment, and the parental environment, the home environment, of course, is the other sort of big pillar of child education and development. And so especially for you know, reaching out to parents who are looking for progressive and more sex positive advice for their families, because they have interest and they have the kind of the intention, but they don't necessarily know how to actually go about it, yeah, to kind of provide these kids in a way and this information. And as the last pillar, social care workers, who, yes, are also interested in having a better sex positive kind of kit available to them when they're advising people who are in their care. But again, right, these are things for one later day. First, it's good to kind of to start kind of, I think, close to where we are at actually right now. So yes, this is our idea for the project, to create pop-up exhibitions. And what would that involve? So it would, at the basic sort of level, it would involve a series of large, visually striking posters, which explain and also kind of present in an engaging, at the same time, informative way, one aspect of sex or sexual health with a, well, obviously, sex positive approach. Paired with that, a guide or a kit, like a booklet, that can be taken away, and that explains in more detail the issues that are raised. How do we want to present this? So one of the reasons why we chose this format is because, of course, it is a very, very cost-effective and like easily accessible way to share information, and it can really be displayed by anyone, anywhere that has a wall or a few tables. So anywhere really. And so we want to share it with spaces around the world. And again, right, it can be anything from yoga studios to bars, shops, organizations. And so this can be sort of stand by itself. Yeah, this could be information that really kind of like, you know, speaks for itself. At the same time, it can also be paired with a kind of a more like participatory approach. Yeah, so we would come, for example, to festivals and basically offer a workshop, and then pair that with, you know, handing out the information, handing out the booklets, you know, putting up the posters, but also kind of not just kind of having this one way consuming approach. Yeah, here's information, take it, deal with it, but also, you know, kind of engaging people and yeah, through participatory workshops. And that, of course, will depend very much on our capacities. Speaking of which, capacities, yeah. We have virtually no budget, and we're all volunteers who all have, you know, their own full-time lives and work things to take care of, and so there, you know, we need to stay realistic about how much time and effort we can really contribute, and that is the reason why we have decided to start with the project with one subject, which is really crucial and essential, and you know, never gets old, and that is consent. Yeah, and consent, I might not have to kind of you know, explain at length why it is important. It's completely central for everything that is related to sex and sex positivity, and not only sex, of course. It's a universal issue and need, and it is also relevant for all target groups. And what we're planning to do with as the department circle, and as well as with this project, is to really build our network of sex educators as well as event organizers. We want to create engaging content, of course, design amazing posters and guides, give workshops, invite people from our network to show the exhibition at their events or their spaces at their organization, and look for funding to develop the project further, and to, you know, even increase sort of the quality and the reach of the content that we do create, knowing that we shall never be paid. Yeah, so this is there will be, of course, a chance to, you know, reimburse the costs that are incurred, but this is a voluntary nonprofit association, and that should be clear for people who might want to join us. And I think, as has been said before, what we're really looking for is just people who care and who bring in initiative. Yeah, in terms of the current project, like the main sort of positions in the way that we have, or like the sort of the needs that we have, are for writers, editors, researchers. Yeah, very much, of course, for graphic designers. That is something that for now we don't have anyone in the group. Of course, always looking for educators and event organizers, people who are interested to kind of help with the outreach. Or people who might say, well, I don't really have for whatever reason, I can't or don't want to commit to working regularly with a group. However, I know these groups or institutions or venues or spaces or people who might totally be interested and who might really, really profit, and I'm really happy to put you in touch with those people, right? And that is something that's also very useful for us, of course. Basically, everyone is welcome. Yeah, whatever your level of experience, if you say like, look, I'm not a graphic designer, but I like sort of visual things, and I've always wanted to kind of play around with that stuff, and I'm happy to sort of do that pro bono because it's a cause I believe in, right? Welcome, right? This is something that's very, very very, very invited, and we are a fun bunch to work with, in my humble opinion. And how we work is, both because of this year, because of COVID, of course, but also because we're not necessarily located all in the same location. We work primarily through Slack and regular Zoom calls, and regular is a very relative concept. Yeah, so it's there's been a bit of inconsistency, I think, about the regularity, but in general, maybe around like twice a month, I think is kind of like the average that we've been sort of upholding, and will kind of be, that's kind of like the rhythm, of our meetings, with each meeting being around 2 hours, not more. And in-person meetings are super, super important, and we do try and make those happen as well, especially for the people who in Berlin, of course, it's much easier to meet up. However, for people who join the association, and maybe also the General Circle, if that's of interest, then the General Circle also has in-person meetings yearly. Yes, so this would be a time when we would have a little break, and not any kind of break, but dance break.